Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Free Agents podcast. Back here today for some more pre-agents, the Gauntlet 2 Part 2. We're going to be talking episodes 7 through 12 today. So excited to get into it all. Of course, I am Matt here, as always, with Brian Scally. Scally, what's up?
Hello. I am so good. I'm excited to be jumping in for part 2 of the Gauntlet 2. Feel like maybe not as many like out and out jumping standout moments for like the crowd as a whole, but for me, some of these stand out very well. So I'm excited to go through them.
It's absolutely not the same thing, but this season is almost giving me a little like Challenge 39.
Ooh.
Of like a lot of, I mean, obviously only half of the field are people who fit that 39 mold of like, you know, we had them once or twice and now we really want to get more into their stories, while the other half is some vets. But a lot of those vets haven't been super highlighted. And I don't know, just the general vibe here is like getting to meet some more of these people that we didn't spend enough time with the first time.
I kind of see that. I think that, even let's say a David who like I really like, I don't think that he has been the star of his seasons necessarily. Oh, kind of the first, but definitely not the second. So I do see what you're saying. Even some of the vets, like, Brad, Derek, Robin, like they still feel so new to the franchise. So it's very interesting having so many newer people. I would say that I definitely feel more familiar with them. But as far as this rewatch, they're brand new.
Also, like, not to get too ahead into part 3 of this just yet, but looking at like the cast for next season is fresh meat, I believe. It's like that's the beginning of era 2. This season is 11, so it's technically by season 40's definition, 11 is technically part of era 2, but it feels like honestly the last season of era 1, just given how many new mainstays are going to join the series next season. It feels like we're kind of like closing the book here, but I also don't remember fresh meat as well. I just am looking at the cast list purely and feeling like, maybe this is the end of this era rather than season 10 arbitrarily being the end. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that. I definitely do think that, whether it be last season, next season, like these are some of the points that when you tell someone who's looking to do a big watch through of the series, people will say like, oh, start at this season. So I would say we're right in the middle of that. We're kind of in like a transition period, and it's very interesting to revisit.
Yeah. So let's get into what we have here today. Of course, we already talked through the first 6 episodes. We said goodbye to at least one of our captains, right? And maybe we'll say goodbye to another captain in this section. But, some drama, some interesting gameplay so far. But as we kick things off in episode 7, a big theme of these 6 episodes is going to revolve around someone, Scally, who has been a challenge mainstay through the entire first era of the show, but not in any type of way like she is this season. And of course, I'm talking about Beth.
Beth is so interesting. This is my first real memory of Beth in the real time. I remember just this episode so clearly in my brain. And to start out with David really trying to like, give her a little bit of a pep talk. Like, Beth, you're doing fantastic. Like, you're such a good competitor. We all really rely on you. And it's like, I'm keeping Beth at an arm's length. I don't trust her at all.
She was really hoping that Tanya was going to be back this season so that she could find a way to get her back for what happened last season, of course, with the clothes in the pool and all that kind of stuff. So just hearing her say that in confessional, I'm like, she's definitely said that to David. And David at one point in these episodes is like, you're just always up to something. Like there's just a dark side to you that's always thinking, scheming, and like bad things are happening. And it's like, no, that's not. Well, yes, that is correct. And that never goes away when it comes to Beth. So I see. Yeah, I
would say, as a kid watching this, like not being as perceptive for sure, and also this being one of the first times that I had like real solid recollections of Beth, I'm like, but she's saying she's nice. Like, I don't get it. Why does everyone hate her so much?
She's saying she's nice.
Like, like Beth is behind the scenes. She's sneaky. She is instigating, but like she says, like, I've never started a fight. Like, people bring the fights to her because of the toxic behavior that she's exhibited behind the scenes. And so as a child, I'm like, yeah, she doesn't start yelling. Like, that's not Beth.
Beth is like firmly the I'm not touching you, I'm not touching
Yep.
you of,
I
the
feel like I could hear
challenge.
that in her voice.
Yeah, no, truly. But the drama's going to get started with Beth in this round of episodes where the challenge that's about to come up, they're speculating if running is going to be involved, and if there is, Beth is more than happy to do so. Beth, certainly in. I can't say for like future seasons before we get to All Stars, but so far what we've seen, like the best Beth shape that she's been in, the most willing to compete, even with that not being at 100% or maybe on the same level of some of the other athletes on this show or competitors. Beth seems ready to go. And we're going to get into this challenge here where not only is that a big factor, but also this, I guess, call it a rivalry with Montana, which of course these two have not been together on a challenge in years, but they are both back here now, and so we're following both of these Beth storylines at once. They come crashing together here.
It's so funny. We do get a flashback to Real World slash Road Rules Challenge, and it's credited as season one of the challenge, though nowadays it is known as season two, with Road Rules All Stars being season one. So that was interesting, I thought, as a little historical moment. But you really got Beth here, who is saying that, oh, she really hopes tomorrow is a running challenge. That's what she does. She will smoke the other team. It's the best thing in her arsenal. Where Montana delivers a crazy line that has always been in my mind, where she says, Beth sucks at being a person. There's been no growth in her since the original challenge, except in her thighs. Like, oh my God.
I cannot.
Like, oh my God, Montana.
I cannot. And over the course of, Montana's remaining time in the season, she's going to really do a lot to act like, the morally superior one between the two of them, like eventually kind of trying to calm down this feud. Yet she's dropping lines like this.
Yep. Yep. So when they are then getting to the challenge, rickshaw races, in which 3 men and 3 women are going to have to run a rickshaw carrying their other team members around a track. And there is some discussion of who should sit out and thus gain immunity from the elimination, between Montana and Beth being two of the like heavier women on their team. But Beth, by default, says that it should be her because she's the heaviest, yet the argument is Beth is such a good runner, shouldn't she be running? But Beth is like, no, I'm like, that's what it is. We all agreed I should have immunity. Like, too bad.
Yeah, the drama is obviously not making Ruthie in particular happy, who is the captain of this team still on the women's side of things. It's got to be such a tough position for her to be in. Like, you can't control a Beth and a Montana fighting on your team, and this argument between the two of them gets pretty. It's not like a nasty fight. Like, we're going to see so many nastier fights, but it's just like we are trying to be a good team, just like any other team that's trying to perform well, communicate well. And it's really just putting a stop to all of that. Nobody can think straight. Nobody can put a plan together because Beth and Montana can't decide or can't come to an agreement on who's going to sit out for the day. Eventually, I think it's the captains that do decide that Montana is going to be the one that sits out alongside Cyrus, which Montana later tells us she didn't even care about sitting out. She just didn't want it to be Beth that sat out.
Yeah. Well, because Beth was the presumed vote. Like, oh, she is annoying. Everyone dislikes her. So can't have her have immunity, because then that makes it a question of who else will get voted in if not Beth. So, you know what? As a kid, though, I was fully Team Beth. I remember I was like, Beth's a nice lady. What's happening? Why is everyone so mad at her?
I
This
can
Montana,
absolutely
she
see,
seems so
yeah.
mean.
I'm sure it was very easy to fall for that, just given the way that Beth is presenting the story. But this challenge, yeah, rickshaw races, right,
Yep.
is gonna end up being a win for the rookies. So not the Beth and Montana team. Beth does do a pretty good job with her portion of the run. She was hyping herself up as this runner, and eventually, since she has to compete, she does. So give her credit for that. She's performing well. Other people, not so much. I think it was Robin was having a tough time, and
Yeah.
eventually you see the vets doing everything they can to catch up. It's like MJ versus Mark in the final round, final race, and Mark is like, I can get him if he makes any mistakes, but unfortunately not going to happen for the rookie, the vets there.
Yeah, I think what it really is, David goes first, and I think they had the strategy of like, let's get a big lead. So I think he takes two smaller women on the team
Yeah.
and does end up getting that lead. But then I think Robin's carrying two pretty big dudes. And so when she starts puttering out after a couple steps, like, yeah, I feel like maybe we could have seen this coming.
Yeah, I'm like, these big ass wheels are not enough to counter the fact that you are carrying all of this weight behind you.
Yeah, I mean, and I would never have like looked as at Robin as a runner. I really was immediately like, oh, like that is a questionable decision. But it turns out like most of their team was gonna run. Like if you're participating, I think it's 3 out of 5 people of each gender on each team are going to be running. So it's only what like Anissa and Katie that don't run. I think it's like, well, that does kind of make sense.
Yeah, I mean, imagine Katie trying to pull two of those big guys.
Katie would still be there.
Katie absolutely would. Katie is so invisible this season. It
You
hurts.
know,
She's not there at all. She's there, but she's not. She's not there. I don't know where she is. I hate it. But anyway, somebody else who hates what's happening here is Ruthie, the captain of the Vets team on this women's elimination day. She has to go into elimination. And who is she going to be up against? Of course, names that come up. Maybe Beth, maybe Montana, probably much more Beth because she is just this lightning rod for controversy at all times. She's always talking about people's preconceived notions of her. Look, she's Beth, and yeah, she's got attention on her at all times. She's going to go in.
I'm sorry, Beth is good drama here, where she says, like, I just want to say that I stepped up and did really well today. And it's just such a shame that the weakest girl on our team is immune. And like, just absolutely smacking Montana in the face with her words for no reason here. It gains her literally nothing.
It's so unfortunate that she does eat those lines up and that she
Yep.
would crush it on House of Villains and all of Traitors. And like, she
Yep.
sucks so bad, but she knows what she's doing.
She's good TV, unfortunately.
Ah, so of course, with Beth selected, Beth versus Ruthie, nobody wants Ruthie to go home. Ace is kind of expressing that for the entire team, especially when it's up against Beth. Let's get Beth out of here. Before we get into this elimination itself, can you explain to me at all
Sure.
what is going on with this wheel and how broken it is?
It feels like it usually lands on captain's choice about
Usually,
75%
every
of the
time.
time. Well, this was challenger's choice, to be fair.
Oh, was it?
So Beth does get to choose instead of Ruthie. And I think that's what really ends up screwing Ruthie. Because if Ruthie's picking, I think we're clearly going for like capture the flag. Let's climb this net very quick and agile. But instead, because Beth gets to pick in the one time it doesn't land on captain's choice, she goes for, you know, reverse tug of war looks really good to me right now. And everyone on their team is just immediately defeated.
So sorry to be a bad note taker here, but I did not realize that. I thought it was the captain's
Yeah.
choice. And so I'm sitting there in that scene when Ruthie's like talking to people about, what got picked. And she's like reverse tug of war. I'm like, why would you have picked that? Like, because you just won another one. So you feel confident in yourself on it.
No.
I only saw the word choice. I guess I didn't realize the challenger's choice was there, but that makes sense. All right.
Yeah, Beth
Anyway.
was literally like, I wonder what I'll pick. Like it was just absolutely, unfortunately, like chewing the scene, like eating up this moment where she knows I'm going to pick this one where I'm literally double her weight.
Well, Ruthie and Beth are going to take on this reverse tug of war, and I certainly did not have very high hopes going into this one for Ruthie. Of course, Beth, in general, in the challenge world, is not perceived as one of the stronger competitors, and that's what I was saying a couple minutes ago about how she is in, maybe her peak physical form here. Of course, there's also the fact that she is a bigger person than Ruthie. She has more weight on her, and
Yeah,
so in a
Ruthie's just so
challenge
tiny.
very tiny in a challenge like this that is pretty much purely physical, and if you weigh even 20 more pounds than the person that you are up against, pulling them with a rope, you're going to have a pretty good chance. And she does. Beth sends Ruthie home.
Yep, it's sad. Ruthie is just like trying to dig in and go side to side. She's using all the right techniques, and Beth isn't even really doing a great job at like getting low or doing any of that. She basically just walks her over, like
Yeah.
just full stand up, just okay, and that's my flag. Thank you.
Yeah, like if you, not to let this maybe a mean example, but like when you're like walking your dog and they try to like run in the other direction, but you just have to pull the leash a little bit, and you know you're obviously stronger than the dog. That's just kind of the vibe.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So yeah, the team is shook. The vets team is very unhappy that not only are they losing Ruthie, you know, a very perceived strong player, maybe not in strength challenges like this, but in many other aspects, Ruthie is you know, almost a version of like a Derek kind of character that where
Yeah.
it's just like, you know, she has the heart and they want that person on their team. And she's getting replaced as the captain by Beth.
It's so funny to look back in challenge history and see that Beth is a freaking team captain here. I am just giggling. I do think it's really funny, especially when Montana comes up and is like, Beth, I just want to say congratulations. Like, you did a really good job. I like you and I don't want to fight. Like, and they're both agreeing to when Beth turns around, sticks her tongue out in the camera, is like, ugh.
Yeah. Like, Montana, don't get clown like that. Get up. Get up.
So funny.
Get up. Like, no wonder Montana's never coming back to the challenge after this. You just get ruined by Beth, like in your return, your, you know, third show. Come on, let's just wrap it up. And yeah, Beth is still focused on you know, getting Montana out. She says if they lose again, she wants Montana down there and she will send her home. We'll see if she can deliver on that promise very soon. But as far as Ruthie is concerned, she's very sad, of course. She can't believe she lost. She's going home so much earlier than she's, you know, really probably ever expecting to.
Yeah.
Only one more season that we'll have with Ruthie before All Stars, but it's not for 6 seasons.
Yeah, we do not get Ruthie for a little bit. She feels like a much larger presence in the show's history than she really is, unfortunately. I think it's just that she has such a standout season that you really remember her being a really big part of this.
Yeah.
But I think the character of Ruthie in terms of like who she is and what she represents is much larger than her character personality wise or the number of seasons she does or anything like that.
Yeah, 100%. So Ruthie is going to be heading out. Let's get into episode 8 where, oh boy, can you believe it, Scally? There is possibly, potentially, theoretically, an alliance.
I loved how this was presented. We open up on Kita being like, Jillian, I need you to tell me exactly what happened. It's just like the biggest murder mystery that has ever happened. I have seen this many a times on a Housewives where like we end up with a dramatic moment and it's like 2 months earlier. So I was waiting for the flashback. I thought it would be so fun, but no, we get a little bit of that where Jillian is explaining that all of a sudden 2 members of her team have approached her with an alliance.
Yeah, this is the most scandalous thing to hit the challenge in years. The word on the street is that over on the rookies team, you have Kara Z or Kara, I always mix up Kara Z, the only Kara here, and Susie, who apparently were approached by Brad, Timmy, and David on the vets team.
Rumor.
That's the rumor, to make an alliance where the guys were going to throw women's challenges on the vets side of things so that the vets guys there would then lose women so that Susie and Kara are safe. And then on the rookie side of things, Susie and Kara would help to throw challenges on guys' days to keep those guys on the vets team safe. That would make a lot of sense if this is a real thing that's happening, like, you know, across lines there, keeping each other in the game. That's how alliances work. But the controversy, of course, is this alliance real? Did they really go to Jillian to talk about being involved in this? And then, of course, it's going to blow up into such a bigger thing when Jillian is so concerned about, do I tell my team about this? Should I be honest? And this could be a big problem for us if I don't let everybody know.
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, Kina is here saying, Jillian, you did the right thing. Thank you for coming to me and sharing this with me. We're going to have to tell Alton. So there is a little bit of a team meeting minus Kara and Susie where they are going to discuss it. Everyone is just absolutely disgusted. How could they be screwing them all over? I would say that it makes sense in terms of longevity in the game. I would say that they do often worry about the number of men they have on their team constantly, if that's going to determine who's going to win the finals. So it doesn't really align with their usual worries. But in general, I think that the longevity in the game is very important for them, as is pointed out.
Yes.
Kina's the captain, and Kina gets to choose whoever she wants to go into an elimination against. And 4 out of 6 of the women on her team are the women from her real world or her road rule season, leaving Kara and Susie as the incredibly obvious choices.
I'm refreshing myself now. Kina, they're all from it's Kina, Jody,
Jody,
and
Ibis, and Jillian are
That
all
is
from the same
crazy.
road rule season.
Yeah, they talk about that, but it's settling in with me now for the first time. That is wild. Yeah, that the
Yeah.
two of them are on the outside, and they talk about, that they're Kara and Susie are just like excluding themselves from everything else. It's like, well, yeah, no, very clearly, like you all have this bond, and they've become close as well. I don't think anyone's doing anything wrong here, but they're just really making it out to be, that Kara and Susie are these big villains.
Yep. And Jillian is a later replacement on her original Road Rule season. So, like, she's never on the show with Kina or Ibis, who both go home earlier. But at the same time, there is this bond between the 4 of them. It's not likely to be them if Kina needs to pick. It's not as if any of them are like much weaker competitors than the others, even though Kara and Susie are quite good. It's not as if, Ibis or Jillian or Jody are terrible by any means.
Is the Real World Extreme the original Vacation Alliance? Is that what's happening here?
The Road Rules Extreme. I mean, for me, as
Road Rules.
a
Yes.
pretty recent person jumping into this franchise, I was like, yes, all of my favorites are here. The most recent cast of Road Rules. So
Right.
I was really pulling for the Road Rules Extreme team back at this time.
I get it. But I think before we get into this challenge itself, I just need to ask you, what's your read on Kara and Susie and how involved they were in this alliance? We have so much more to get to of how it's going to come up, but a lot of their views on how their team is treating them in this challenge have to do with the way that they're telling us we have no idea why people are ignoring us. What's your read on how much they were actually involved in this alliance or not?
It's hard because I feel like I'm holding both of them, like both of the options have a little bit of space in what I believe. So when at one point Susie is like, I just don't understand why they wouldn't put us in the most important position of the challenge. It's like, Susie, come on. Come on, Susie. But then at the other point where it's like, we didn't make this alliance. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this didn't happen. I'm also like, I kind of believe that. So I don't really know. I think that it probably was something of, it gets brought up, it never really becomes a thing. It's kind of a joke, kind of feeling it out, but this never actually was going to come to fruition type thing.
That's 100% what I'm feeling. I feel like the guys must have said it to Sarah. I'm Sarah and Susie. Yeah, that's if you're with Susie. Sorry, your name is Sarah. To Kara and Susie. That exactly presenting it as imagine we did this, and then maybe they told Jillian about this and just said imagine we actually did this, and then Jillian is just taking this as this is what it really is. Because I have a hard time not believing them when they sound so like baffled that people are thinking that they are betraying their team and forming this alliance and just all this stuff. They look so upset about it. And of course, plenty of people in their type of position on a show like this could just be playing it up and trying to act innocent to get out of something. But I wasn't reading that off of at least Susie. But I don't know.
Honestly, I thought Susie came up very not super likable here. And maybe that's just me still being a Road Rules Extreme loyalist. But I was just like, Susie, stop crying. This, you know what happened. Don't feign ignorance.
Yeah. Fair enough. Let's talk about team strength. This challenge here. That's Sarah. I keep doing it. Kara and Susie, especially because it's a Kara and Sarah.
Yep.
That they are not allowed to be very big participants in. Scally, just to get down to it, your boy Ace.
Don't start with me. Don't start with me.
Look, this challenge, they have to use their strength, if I didn't make that clear with the name of the title. There's this big giant boulder, and then there's also a truck and a bunch of cinder blocks. Very heavy objects that need to be moved by the entire team all the way from one side to another. Very funny with this challenge because one team does a great job with their boulder getting it across. The vets, though, that was the rookies that did a fine job. The vets, though, push it and it breaks apart into 1,000 pieces. Production is shitting the bed on so many challenges this season. It's not even funny. How did this boulder fall apart? I don't know.
I mean, I do feel like if you knock either one of them around, it would have happened in probably many scenarios. It's a big hollow wooden structure that in all actuality probably would not have lasted, much longer for the rookies either. But yeah, it completely disintegrates. And instead of like, ooh, we need to, fix this, the veterans team just picks up all the pieces. I'm like, guys, there are like nails on
there's definitely screws, nails, anything just sticking out of that. And they just pick up the pieces and they have to run to the finish line. And that's probably what TJ told them to do. Like, I doubt it's just, oh, let's do this to finish. Like, I would be sitting there looking at production, like, get us a new ball, just make a new one. I don't know, or just drop this part of the challenge. But not only that, sorry, what was that?
I just said you would think, and now
you would think, yeah.
And then you have to end up after you push the boulder, you have to push this truck across a field. 2 people will be pushing it across, and then after you get there, you fill it up with a whole bunch of cinder blocks, and 2 other people will push it back.
Right. And so not only is production giving them these, giant boulders that are going to fall apart. It's not a boulder, it's a rock. But they are also giving them this part of the mission, the challenge that you have to push the people on the truck. Eventually you have to push the cinder blocks with the people on the truck. This is not doable. Eventually TJ has to come by and say that they can take 2 people as well off the truck and have them push in addition to the 2 people that were already pushing. Now, granted, one of these teams has a bigger issue going on than just the weight. But I don't know that this was, look, he did it, not me. But I don't think this was ever doable with just 2 people, unless they had like the strongest possible testers of this challenge.
Yeah, I was watching them try to push, and it just is a literal zero movement. Everyone is just trying their absolute hardest, but it's just too much weight. And so I'm like, did they not test this properly? I don't know what this was, but even once they are then allowed to add 2 more people, the vets aren't moving. They are literally stuck in place. We find out this is because, Ace did not pull the clutch. Now, sure. Apparently, this is a huge mistake. Julie is heated. Heated. Julie is so mad. Oh my God. But I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Would you know to pull the clutch?
Was this is that like a stick shift type of thing?
Yep.
No, but I wouldn't have been in the car. I wouldn't have volunteered to go in there.
I'm just, you know what? I've never been in a car where you put it in neutral and it doesn't move. So I'm Team Ace here.
Of course you are. Yeah, the rookies end up winning this because Ace in this clutch situation, they literally can't move it. It's basically parked, and they're trying to move the car. So it absolutely isn't going anywhere. He realizes that he fucked up and he's laughing after all of this. He's like, well, I'm going to the Gauntlet. And that's correct. This deliberation is going to be pretty easy because Derek doesn't have to do a lot of work to have the team come together to decide on who it's going to be. Ace realizes the mistake that he made today, so he's going to take full responsibility and go into the Gauntlet against Derek. This one though is captain's choice, and Derek is going to pick Beach Brawl. So unless you have anything else, you want to talk about our send-off?
I have something else.
What do you got?
This is the debut of a piece of challenge history.
Oh, and I'm just rushing over it.
My favorite things ever. And it is Derek's blue knit hat confessional look. He is wearing the biggest, bluest, the babyest, bluest knit hat that has a big brim, and it is so funny. And I know that lots and lots of people think of this hat very often and meme about it. I already have a tweet scheduled to go out about it. So it is so funny if you don't remember it.
Yeah.
It's such a good look. I love it so much.
He wears this more often this season.
To this season, there's a couple confessionals, but it is just such a silly hat that I love so much. that it is like literally I searched the challenge Derek hat and it's like every single Google search.
That's great. I passed right over this while just listening to him talk about this elimination. This is a confessional look he's got going on, but this is a iconic hat.
Every so often I'll see a Reddit thread that's like, what was up with Derek's hat? Like, people really have questions.
Yeah. Well, I do apologize for rushing right past that, but I'm
Thank
glad
you.
we paused down a little bit, and we'll get that picture out on social media as this podcast is coming out. But yeah, time to say goodbye to your boy Ace here. Derek versus Ace. They're of course going to get all oiled up and get to the center of the ring for this elimination beach brawl. And Derek is going to pretty easily get Ace out of the game. I'm
I will
sorry.
say Derek is very scrappy. Ace gets 1 point. I'm happy.
Yeah.
That's, you know what? Ace put up a fight. There are many, many, many challenge contestants in history that would never get a point against Derek.
Yeah.
So Ace is pretty good.
Yeah. Very different type of matchup than we're going to see in the next elimination, which is the same elimination, but with a different opponent. We'll get there in due time. But yeah, Ace held his own to get at least 1 point. And back at the house before he heads out, he's going to throw a little party and everyone's invited.
I love this 15-minute party in my room. And everyone immediately runs up and is like taking shots and celebrating with Ace. It's just, yeah, Ace was absolutely one of my favorites growing up.
He is so sad to be leaving. He was doing so well. He hadn't gone home early yet. And this is not early. This is, middle of the game. So I think he,
Episode 8.
Yeah, he survived much longer than he had been. So good for him. But you hear everybody talking about how he's like the life of the house, life of the party, all that stuff. So definitely sad to see him go, but also someone has to go, and he accepted responsibility for what happened in the mission, and then he didn't win the elimination. And so just the way it goes.
He says here, he's like 30 years from now, you're not going to miss the $20,000, $30,000, whatever it is that's in your bank account, but you will remember the friendships. You will be friends with these people. And I think that that's not necessarily true for everyone here. Yeah, I think they've probably spent the $30,000, but I don't think that many people are in contact with many challengers. But I do feel like Ace is someone who really values the friendships that he's made on the challenge and is still in contact with a lot of very close people. People have a lot of affection for Ace still to this day. So I think that he's speaking truth to himself at least.
Yeah, we talked very recently in a patron podcast as we're getting season 41 of the challenge started, that Ace put up a post for CT of rooting him on. So definitely, a lot of connections that he's made out there seem to be very long lasting, and making even new connections with people as he's popping up on All-Star seasons, that people are still having the same thoughts about him as a person all these years later. For now, though, one more season of Ace on the flagship. It's 3 seasons away, and then we have to wait for All-Stars. But at least we get him on All-Stars. Imagine he was on your wish list of people that you wanted to see back that you never did.
I know, I'd be so devastated.
I know you would be. So I'm glad he's here, or he'll be back. But let's talk about this more of this drama with Kara and Susie. It takes us from episode 8 into episode 9. There's going to be a team meeting, putting the cards on the table about this supposed alliance, and just the way that Kara and Susie are reacting to finding out that the whole team thinks that they're against them.
I love where it's just like, I am shocked that people would look at me this way. Okay. I don't know. I think it's very funny. Yeah, is Kina a little bit of a hard ass? She's literally 20 years old and she's lecturing them look, you guys know what you did and I'm disappointed in you. It's very funny in that context.
Yeah. Kina's pissed. Jillian also, really, she's the one that is in this situation, has to defend herself almost. And when Kara and Susie are making it sound like this isn't a thing, then everyone's going to start looking at Jillian and being like, but you said, and then she's like, no, well, obviously they're only playing it off this way because I said no to the alliance. And so they're going to act like it's not real. But yeah, just some tense moments between the extremers and these two. So it's tough. And then we go into episode 9 and the drama's continued.
Susie and Kara is an extremely iconic duo in my mind. I was not rooting for them, but I still very much associate them in my brain for challenge history. That is honestly maybe even more so than Susie and Sarah, which tells you just how much they stood out for me. But Susie here being like, I totally understand why you're so angry if you could believe that. Like it totally makes sense. So it was very funny, regardless of what the actual truth was. I think they were kind of always going to be on the outs in their position anyway, like we said, based on the fact that over half of their women's team is made up of the same cast, but it's not helping.
No. I feel like Jillian also though doesn't come out of this super clean. She kind of looks a little,
A little
shaky
sketchy.
herself. Yeah.
Yeah, because when Ebis is saying, like, you do not want to have a meeting, Kara, like, if we have a meeting, you are going to look really bad because here's what Jillian said about you. And Jillian's like, I didn't say exactly that. They're like, don't lie, Jillian. You are no, don't go back on this now. This is exactly what you said to us.
It's going to end up being where Kina walks away from this conversation. She doesn't want to have this fight with Kara, and Kara's like yelling at her, well, you're just not very approachable, so we can't even talk to you. You just keep walking away. So yeah, some drama here. Tension is certainly boiling, and just one more episode, it's going to come to a head in elimination. But for now, we're really just getting the backstory and understanding why this beef is so intense.
Yeah, it boils over into the Vets team because now Brad is having to address the team, being like, I'm being accused of being in this alliance, and I absolutely never did that. They obviously are very worried about their position on the team. That makes a ton of sense. But like, I'm happy with my team. I love my team. I don't feel nervous. I feel great about my position on the team. Why would I ever do this?
Brad feels very violated right now when he hears that he's potentially involved. I'm very violated.
Brad is an interesting character because even later, when Beth feels like her only friend in the game is Cyrus and they have a little conversation, Cyrus is asked the question of, like, who are the two weakest men on the team? And immediately he says Brad, which I feel like when you look back on challenge history, there's so many Brad doubters, but when I look at Brad physically, I would never be guessing that he would be the default weakest member of the team.
It has to be like the fact that they perceive him to not be able to keep his emotions in check. Because almost in the same way of Derek, of like, Derek is obviously not a weak player, but when he shows up in the first deliberation talking about, well, I just want us all to put our cards in the table. And he's just like got this erratic energy to him that makes you look at him like he doesn't have it all together. I think Brad, of course, with, it's a necklace or whatever. Now it's a necklace. And just everything that he's been kind of making a name for himself on the show, it hasn't been through like, oh, he's the dominant competitor. He's kind of unhinged at times.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I feel like we see that at like a good 7 times throughout. It does also, I got a little bit of a soft spot for Cyrus when he is self-aware enough to be like, I think the other weakest is probably me. So, like, oh, poor Cyrus.
Poor guy. But we're about to get to him.
We'll get there
very soon. Balancing act is the next challenge here. Everyone's suspended about 20 feet over the water, and they have to get as many players as they can across the beam, going 2 by 2. They all have whoever's going at once has a very small rope that they are using to hold each other up. So you have to get yourself, your partner, and the rope in between you from one side of this beam to the other. Very, very difficult challenge.
Oh, I'm like, did they test this one either? Because no one is making it. Literally, like, Elton and Landon are the only ones that make it, and it took them 12 minutes to even like make an attempt because it was so shaky. Everyone is just falling. There are some really hard falls. It's a little flag up of Derek and Katie are partners, and I was so
brutal.
But look, I was so happy because I'm like, they're so cute, their friendship. I love them. Like, again, that is my pair in my head, is Derek and Katie. Yeah. And so when they go together and Derek just drops Katie into the water, I was like, no.
And I'm also like, I'm on the lookout because I don't know what season it is, but I'm waiting for the black eye. And I'm like, was this it? It wasn't. No, it wasn't it. It is not. So yeah, Alton and Landon were the ones that, like you said, they went first and they eventually get it done, but they're like explaining how a lot of teams were getting on the rope and holding the rope, getting on the wires and then holding the rope between them. And then they kept falling back to the starting platform because they were either afraid or wanted to reset and have a better strategy to get back on. So they just fell like 6 times onto the starting platform to reset. And a couple other people did the same thing. So it was just funny that they were perceiving that to be an option. Eventually, nobody else gets it done.
Nope. Yeah, what you see is people get nervous and then they pull on the rope because they want more stability and they end up pulling their partner off of the rope. Their partner has a really nasty fall and then they do as well. So, not ideal. There's literally 1 point that gets scored throughout the entire mission. So, unfortunately, Beth's going to have to go into elimination.
She is. But one last note, TJ's commentary was very funny during this as well. When he would like, it was Brad and David that were up, and he's like, Brad and David are going to have to do this. They're going to be the last chance for this team to catch up. Timmy and Beth, they're going, and now they're going to be the last chance. I'm like, thank you, TJ.
I, I love when he's like, Brad and Timmy, the last realistic chance because the next team is Beth and no one believes in her. Like, okay, TJ, the editorializing.
Right. Even with a challenge that nobody was completing, we're still like, Beth sucks. Beth can't do anything. Beth doesn't want to do anything. Get her out of here.
To be fair, Beth did not make an attempt.
Yeah, look. Is it worse to? Yeah, no. I mean, I get it for like the way that it looks, right? Like everyone's like, you have to at least try, but like everyone's falling in the water. I'm not making it across. Like, why do I want to get hurt when I have to go into elimination tonight?
Yeah.
More than likely. So. And that's what she's going to have to do. The deliberation comes. Who is Beth going to go in against? Montana. Surprise, surprise. The entire team has voted for Montana. You think they were just looking for maximum drama?
No, they literally say that, well, Montana's the most like physically close in size to Beth, so we're just hoping she could take her out.
Actually, you think they were just looking for maximum drama? No, it probably was. Truly, of course, they're trying to get Beth out of here. It's going to be another captain's choice, though.
Yeah, it is. And Montana wishes this elimination could just be Beth versus Beth, guaranteeing that she would go home. But fortunately for her, it is not. And Beth feels confident to bring out that old reverse tug of war again.
Yep. And to, I guess my surprise, Beth wins 2 eliminations in a row.
Elimination queen. Beth is just killing it. My favorite part of this, though, has to be the rookies say that they are acting like they're at a monster truck rally. They make signs. They are cheering. They're going absolutely crazy. This is by far the most someone has ever cheered on Beth in an elimination.
I mean, it is the classic. We've seen this so many times in these first couple of seasons, first 10 seasons of like, this person on the other team is our extra bonus team member because they suck so bad. Katie obviously went through it herself. And I'm just like watching Katie this season whenever I do get to see her. And I'm like, she's just sitting back, relaxing while Beth is on her team. Look at her go. But yeah, the team is the rookies are rooting for Beth in a big way here. TJ, very funny, where he's like, I know both of you love each other, but you're gonna have to try your hardest to take each other out of the game here. And Beth does. Beth gets Montana out of the game, not only staying alive and staying as the captain, but taking out her enemy.
Yep, look at her. And well, she has a success there. She is a little bit of a failure when she goes back to her team and says, I know you guys wanted Montana to win. And Derek looks her straight in the eye and says, yes, I did want Montana to win. You're the meanest person I've ever met. And Beth is stunned to silence. One of the only times I ever see Beth have no words.
It was incredible editing from the production team who like really make this a moment of Beth just being stunned to silence, where they like pause, they mute the screen, they mute. It's just zoomed in on Beth as much as they can without it being uncomfortable as she's staring at Derek like, what did you just say to me?
It's so funny. Chappelle flagged this up. I really did not remember the extent of which Derek just stays on Beth's neck. You are the meanest person I've ever met. It's so funny because it is just genuine. It is not embellished. It is not like a quippy line. It is just like, you're horrible.
And honestly, for me, to merge our worlds a little bit, it was a little bit of like the Rachel Riley buffering type of thing of like trying to figure out what to say next. She wasn't expecting that.
It was so funny, though, when Montana goes back to the house, she's saying her goodbyes. I will say a very small moment is Derek being like, hey, Montana, can we get a picture together? It was so cute to me. I was like, this is so funny. Like, can we take a little selfie before you leave? Like, so old school.
Would you want to take a selfie with Montana if you ran into her today?
Probably not.
Would you recognize Montana if you ran into her today?
Almost definitely not.
Montana is done here.
Yeah.
Never returns to the challenge. She was on our Mount Rushmore for 4 seasons.
Crazy.
She gets on in the beginning. Season 2. Her and Beth together join the women's Mount Rushmore for us in season 2. They both stay on together through season 3. Eventually, we drop Beth off for Julie, and then Montana stays on for 2 more seasons before being eliminated, or not, I guess eliminated, when Ellen, Ruthie, and Veronica took over like the entire Mount Rushmore with Battle of the Sexes. So she had a pretty good run there. Don't know that she's going to make it back on here.
Nope.
And with this being the end of her run, I think we're done.
Yeah, look, here's the thing. I feel like, unfortunately for Montana, she had more success at the beginning of her run. And maybe that is, again, me just not being a fan of Montana, my first viewing of this. But I think it's frankly a shame that she would last out on the Mount Rushmore so long, and Beth has only 2 seasons under her belt. We'll see if Beth ever makes it back on, but Beth's so much more important to challenge history.
She at the time in those first couple of seasons, she was just she was a big enough presence, but Montana had a bigger season 2
Yeah,
essentially. So when we're only working with that, obviously it's tough. And knowing all of the history that comes with Beth, also like tough to wrap our minds around that being the case. But it's definitely not representative of like their time on the series as a
for
whole.
sure.
It's crazy. But let's keep going here. Episode 10. We have a couple. So when you and Chappelle were talking about Jody in the part 3 of the Inferno 2 podcast, you were asking Chappelle what hookup he thinks of when he thinks of Jody. And every time that Jody is linked with another man, I'm wondering if this is the one. So now we're up to Jody and Alton.
Yeah, I believe the roles were reversed. I do think Chappelle asked me. Now, this
Sorry.
is you're good. Don't worry about it. And I would say this is definitely one of the ones I am thinking of. I cannot speak for Chappelle, but I think Jody and Elton is extremely iconic.
Yeah, they are just really good friends, and it doesn't hurt that he's hot, Jody says. And Alton's still healing from his relationship with Irulan. Obviously, that has ended somewhat recently. And just to cut right ahead to it, at the end of this episode, we're going out to the bar, dancing together, and all of a sudden, the episode closes on a scene of them making out.
Oop. Yeah. This is definitely one of the like hookups that stands out more in my head. I actually don't remember exactly how this developed, so I'm interested to find out. Not that it's like they're married or anything today, but we'll see how long this even goes on. Because all it says we're building something that's going to last outside of the challenge.
Hey, your careers in the challenge will last for a long time, but maybe not this relationship. So
Mm.
but hey, why not? This is going to be the episode where we lose Cyrus. And
Ugh.
of course, it's pretty easy to realize that when you are starting the episode off with Beth talking about how Cyrus is the only friend I have here. And, they're really bonding. They've known each other for such a long time. Cyrus, I think in an episode or 2 ago, was talking about how he feels like his time is coming to go into the Gauntlet soon. So, I mean, I guess just generally, are we feeling like his team is perceiving him to just be the weaker one? Even all the way back then, he's still seen as the older guy because he's probably in his mid to late 30s while the rest of them are in their 20s.
Yeah, I would say so. I think that it is not helped by his performance in this challenge where challenge we're going to get today is called Buccaneer. There's this big, like giant cross that is set up in the middle, supported by a bunch of ropes on pulleys. They have to ride it like a bucking bronco while the other team attempts to shake them off. And the vets do not manage to shake off any rookies. The rookies figure out the trick. They only shake off Cyrus. So, like, at that point, what are you going to do?
Another total fail of a challenge from this
Yeah.
production team. It's crazy. Yeah, when the rookies go first, and the rookies are on the beams first, and the vets are having a impossible time of shaking them off. They're like laughing at them. They're like, "Oh, this is so crazy. They can't, figure it out whatsoever." And you see these vets like pulling every muscle in their body. Like I'm like, you're all going to be taken away in an ambulance just because you're like ripping like every bone in your body, every muscle must be like being screaming at you for how intense they were moving their bodies to try to get these people off, and it just wasn't working. Like it must have been just my assessment of watching and trying to figure out what would have worked. Like a very specific, unique technique that would have probably involved like one side pulls really fast and then the other like whips them back to like try to get
Yeah.
them off, because just shaking this up and down was doing nothing. And then yeah, when the teams switch and then the rookies are the ones pulling, it's pretty similar. Obviously they end up getting the result of Cyrus falling, so one person falls and that's enough for them to win the challenge, but it's still surely
Eh,
production was intending something to be harder here.
I would say that at first they struggle, but then I believe it's flagged up as Jody, who realizes if they pull the ropes at angles, it's going to make this be a little bit more of a ride. And pretty quickly thereafter is when they get Cyrus off. I wonder if they were allowed to continue, if this would have looked like a bigger success. But no, at this point, just Cyrus.
Yeah. Katie and Robin had a little bit of an argument in here. Again, not much of either of these two people as main characters
No.
this season so far, but a little argument where Robin was like loudly explaining what they should do next and trying to create a strategy. And Katie's like, they can hear you. Robin's like, so what? We can't figure it out. So that was funny.
Which is funny because I remember back in the day when there was question of, Katie, why are you telling our other team the secrets? You have a loud mouth and now everyone knows what we're doing. So Katie's learned.
True. It all comes back around. And yeah, Cyrus eventually is going to be the one person of everybody here to go down and fall in this challenge. So it leads to a rookie win. Jody, there's no MVPs this season, but if there were, she would be getting the MVP title. So Derek is going to be the losing captain that has to go in. You would think, similarly to a couple rounds ago with Ace, that, Cyrus fell and he would just say, all right, I get it, I'm going in. But that's not the case. We still need to go
No.
to the full-on vote here to decide who's going in. It's still Cyrus, but he doesn't
Good on
volunteer.
Cyrus.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, oh, how noble of Ace. I love Ace, but like, no, I'm not volunteering.
Yeah. Anissa is like, oh, this is so hard. Why couldn't he have just volunteered himself? I mean, look, I get it. Everyone does seem to have a lot of love and affinity towards Cyrus. Derek especially is, he went from like, say names, say who you want to say, call
Yep.
people out, to I don't want to say anyone's name because I like them all so much.
Yeah, that Anissa's confessional is kind of like the least Cyrus could do is step up here. It's like, okay, Anissa, you step up. But I don't know. I appreciate that Cyrus was not going to give them the easy way out.
Yeah. Now I'm starting to worry about if I'm reading correctly, captain's choice or challenger's choice.
Captain's choice here.
So this was captain's choice, and this time we do have an idiotic decision made from the person with the choice.
Well, I mean, to be fair,
I know, but still,
then Derek says in that moment, I might regret this. And the entire team is pretty shocked because Derek chooses beach brawl versus Cyrus. They say that Cyrus has like 70 pounds on Derek. I don't know if that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but it is definitely a size difference between Derek and Cyrus. And it is the fact that Derek has already beat someone who has quite a bit of size on him in Ace. And Derek is confident in his wrestling skills. That's something I've remembered him talking about for quite some time. I had checked out. Derek used to have a podcast before Challenge Mania that was like, was it on like MySpace? Like, I don't even remember where it was posted. Like, he has long talked about this, about his like wrestling prowess. He wrestled in high school. He was very confident in his abilities. So yeah, probably would Derek have been more well matched against Cyrus in like a climbing competition? Yes, but I think it just goes to show exactly how confident Derek is in like the skill of wrestling.
I know, I'm just still rolling my eyes because I feel like we're making decisions with our ego here, of like, I can beat anybody in a beach brawl. But even still, like right after that, he was immediately like worried that he made the wrong decision. Of course, when he gets into the sand, even still to this day, you should be afraid of Derek in a physical elimination. He will break every bone in his body in order to beat you.
Literally.
And that's what happens here. Well, not literally, but he ends up beating Cyrus. A tough elimination to watch because of Cyrus getting very upset, I guess.
It's a little worked up.
Pretty pissed off every time that Derek gets a point on him. The first time, it seemed like he felt like Derek snuck up on him like before it was officially supposed to start.
God, I don't even remember. Like some of the things were like, oh, Derek put his hand out, like Derek touched the sand first before me, and it was just like, no, the ruling, we feel pretty definitively you hit the sand first, unfortunately, and like there's no way we can get around that.
Yeah. So he was getting pretty annoyed at first with all of these different ways that Derek was beating him. And Derek was like, well, it's one thing to be facing Cyrus. It's another thing to be facing a very angry Cyrus, who just wants to, beat me even more. Cyrus's strategy was just to land, hard on Derek with all of his body weight on top of him and try to crush him. And it just wasn't working because Derek is a pit bull.
Yeah.
My
Derek's
notes.
good. And that's the thing is because Derek is smaller, he will get low and he will get lower than you. But even I remember in last elimination that he was against Ace, like Ace would get lower than Derek, and Derek knew moves to like give himself the better position again. Like even if you think you get the upper hand on Ace, like Derek knows how to switch that up on you.
Yes, for sure.
It's impressive.
My notes don't want me to write Cyrus, by the way. They keep trying to autocorrect me to syrup.
Oh, well, maybe you should add it to your dictionary.
I did.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, it was a lot of syrup and Derek.
Okay.
Would you put syrup on a Derek?
Some people would.
Yeah. Just a thought. Anyway, Cyrus only one more time on the flagship that we will see him before All Stars. Yeah. And
Yeah,
7 seasons away.
7 seasons is wild, but yeah, I remember Cyrus's final run. I'm excited to get there. I feel like Cyrus is yet another person who seems like such a cool person, such like a nice person, and is very well remembered because they have like a great personality, but the show just does not highlight them in the way that they should be.
Anissa in the premiere of this Challenge 41 makes a joke of like, oh, she's like talking to the cameraman, like, let me know when you guys have a job for me on that side of the camera. Cyrus is somebody who I'm like, this is like a big thing with like, athletes in professional sports of like after they retire, they go on to work in management or broadcasting or something like that. I'm like, I wish some of these legends were able to be involved in the show in one of those ways so that they could still again be involved, but obviously the competing isn't as easy these days.
Well, I think what they should do is probably take like all these contestants who are maybe not ready to compete at the same level as the flagship show and make a little spin-off version where they can go against each other. We can call it like We Want OGs, and then they can still be on the show and we still have fun while they have an actual chance.
I have bad news for you about how that first season of that concept went when Cyrus was involved.
Okay, I don't want to hear
Really bad news. It also didn't go well as the series goes on to, add some more of the new school kids. So obviously straying from the original concept, but yeah, even at the beginning didn't go great. Anyway, Cyrus is gone. Beth is sad. The vets have been losing and losing and losing. It's 4 challenges in a row, and it's all because of Beth. We already talked about the Kara and Susie stuff, not much more to get into right now besides just, they feel isolated. They're hanging out so much by themselves.
I'm sorry. When they're talking about how, Timmy is now all of a sudden for the first time in a losing situation on the challenge, that's never happened. There's a lot of these veteran men who have come to the challenge in years past and they've just absolutely dominated. And I think that's kind of a thing where the vet guys were some of the strongest guys when they were on the challenge, but they're guys on the challenge. Like the field is getting stronger and stronger with like an Elton, a Landon, an MJ. Like these are pretty strong guys. So all of a sudden they're finding themselves not in the best of positions, let alone Brad says they have a cancer on their team, Beth. And Timmy has a solution that unfortunately is a confessional that's stuck in my mind.
Oh, I thought you were going to make a fashion check on.
No, actually, it's not a confessional. He says it to the team. He's like, all right, boys, one of us is going to have to bang Beth. Like, I don't know why that's the solution, but apparently it is.
Yep. That's the plan. Anyway, moving on. What do I do with that? No, I think we're going to talk about Timmy's shirt he's wearing in the next episode.
Oh, I did not catch.
You didn't catch the long t-shirt?
No.
What they are talking about.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I was like, sure, you are looking out for the fashion. And Timmy is talking about how he wants to start thinking like a woman. And so he puts on this it's like a t-shirt dress that is the front of the shirt has a woman's body on it with like a bikini on.
These were considered so hilarious back in the day.
So funny.
Peak comedy.
Go to any like boardwalk and you
Yep.
would probably find a whole store made of these shirts. But let's talk about the next challenge here, which is called Pull Me.
Yes, where you're going to have half your team sitting on a platform, as you in that other half of the team are going to have to hold them up using a rope. And then the roles will switch. The team that was on the platform will be holding the rope, while the team that was holding the rope will then be on the platform, and we will add those times together. Really, what happens here is the vets figure out the strategy, and the rookies very much do not.
Yep. The rookies were up first. So, as we're going to see over the entire course of the challenge's history, the team that goes first has to figure things out. And then the second team, can work off of what the first team did wrong, the first pair, whatever the case is, as the format allows. Might not have even needed that because you had Mark Long on the vets team who pretty quickly identified exactly what made the most sense in the first place, talking about how when you're doing like a tug of war, you want to get the rope wrapped around your body and get as much of the pressure off of your hands as you possibly can. So that's exactly what they do. They make it past the 30-minute mark, at which Mark himself has to jump off. He's the anchor of the team there. They last 3 more minutes without him. Over on the rookie side, they copy the strategy. Eventually, I think it was Jamie that was the anchor. He lets go, and then the team lasts only 10 more seconds there. And then on the
It
second
was
heat,
Randy.
Randy, my apologies.
Same.
And then on the second heat of the vets, they do not need to keep going once they pass the rookie's time, but they keep going anyway and last 27 more minutes. So a vet
Yeah.
win.
They had been getting crushed in the last couple challenges, and so they just decide they want to make a point, especially when in that first heat you have like, I think it was Elton and Landon and Jody and like really strong team members who were just absolutely struggling because they're just holding with their hands instead of
Yeah.
doing anything. So yeah, no, their 11 minutes does not compare to the vets 30 plus minutes that they're going in every round.
Beth wins a year's worth of movies from Fandango. You think she's going to bring Cyrus to all the movies?
That's very possible. Honestly, they are still friends, I believe, and so it's nice to just see a company that's still around, like as one of the things. Obviously, we've had Best Buy, and I guess like there's been the Nintendo DS, but so many of these things feel very dated. Fandango's still around.
Still a crazy slogan for the Nintendo DS. Something about where touching is important. I don't know, whatever the exact was highlighting the great
Yes.
act of touching. Anyway,
Okay.
so that's what it was. Kina is the losing captain, of course, here, who has to go into elimination again. And as we get to the deliberation, we're back to she can decide who she wants to go against, and she is choosing Kara.
Yeah, she says that she has a lot of faith in Kara, that even if she ends up as team captain, that she thinks she'll do very well. I think that's a fair pick. I also think that Kara has probably been more of the mouthpiece for her and Susie, and that's probably gained her a little bit more of the ire of Kina.
Yeah, I mean, Kara's been much more confrontational with this
Yeah,
situation. Susie is always going to be the one that sits in the back. I would say Susie is much more likely to get a little loud if she's arguing with a guy, but she doesn't
I
really want to
agree.
get into it with the women here, as if she can avoid it. So, yet again, captain's choice. Again, I think it's
Ooh.
the only option on the wheel. But what are you going to do? So Kina is going to pick Name That Coconut, and it's Kina versus Kara. Name That Coconut trivia questions. Go run. We saw this in the first elimination with Derek versus Adam. Run out to answer the trivia question by getting the correct coconut. Tricky one though here for Kara because she apparently has showed up on this show without knowing a single thing that's happened on the show or Real World or Road Rules ever before. Susie says this is painful to watch because she doesn't know anything.
Yeah, you would think like this would seem like a fairly even matchup. Size-wise, they look very similar, but the fact that Kara doesn't know any trivia, the fact that Kina, I'm surprised Kina didn't punch Kara in the face with how hard
Oh
she was
my
trying.
God.
Like Kina is really physical in this.
Yeah, a lot of pushing, a lot of shoving, especially, for Kina gets like, I think it's a blowout, all 5 points.
She does.
Yeah, Kara doesn't get a single point. And so the frustration was certainly building by the time that she was about to get the winning 5th point. And so we are just pulling each other's shirts and throwing each other around. And, Kina's going to come out on top. So, she'll take the little bit of a battle that she got there in order to be victorious, send Kara packing. And that's that. So.
When it's asked, like, who wants to be here more? Kina's like, I do. Like, okay, Kina. Like, she is like going to drown Kara in the sand if it means staying in this house one day longer.
Yeah, a pretty heated rivalry between these two women. If you told me they were going to show back up today on All Stars 5, as a rivals pair, just now having seen it, I would sign right up.
Oh my God. I literally need it.
Need it. Kara's only back one more time. It's 3 seasons away, but one more time for her. So
one more time. She'll be reunited with Susie there as well. So.
Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear. That's why you're saying this friendship is so iconic to you, because I'm like, just from this season doesn't feel like
honestly, just from this season, even in my head, because it was so early on in my challenge viewing career, it's like
they do kiss on the way out.
Whoa.
Did you miss that?
No, but just I don't know. I didn't need to bring it up.
I mean, it wasn't a makeout, but they were, a nice little hug, really sad to be leaving each other. And then, sometimes it's like, friends like kiss on the cheek type of thing. I think they just full on shared a little friendship kiss.
Look, just a little kiss on the lips. Why not?
Yeah, why not for good measure. But yeah, even on the way out, you have some back and forth between Kina and Kara, just like, last minute jabs at one another and pretending to be nice and just, not a lot of love.
Kina thought she was being nice.
Yeah.
But she's like, I just wanted to tell you, good job today, and you can tell me anything you have to say, and I will not speak back. It's like, okay, Kina, like, why do you sound so like stilted even in this moment?
Yeah. Look, she actually is very happy. She gets to come back to her boyfriend, who hasn't said a word on the show, I don't think, since episode 2.
Yeah.
And she got out the person she wanted to get out. So she truly is very happy, but that happiness is not what Kara wants to hear right now. So Kara's gone. One more episode, one more round of eliminations in this batch here today. And speaking of people who have just been extremely quiet, I was just talking about Randy in that aspect. Let's talk about Jeremy in that aspect, because this is Jeremy's boot episode. And Jeremy, I do think, becomes a character for the first time this season in this episode.
Yeah, when I had heard Jeremy would be back another time after we saw him in his rookie season, I was like, good, I'm glad. I feel like we didn't get to see enough of Jeremy. I'm glad we get one more opportunity. I'm surprised I've seen this season. It's shocking that I don't remember more of him. And, then I watched it, and now I know why I don't remember more of Jeremy.
Yeah, a lot of little bits of narration throughout the 11 episodes prior to this. But here, to remind us of who he is before he gets sent home, there's a scene of everybody coming back from the bar. I guess Jeremy didn't go out that day. He was back home on the computer. And when everybody comes back all wasted, he's like, oh, nobody has any self-control around here. We got a challenge tomorrow and people are getting drunk. I'm like, yeah, welcome to the challenge, but
yeah,
whatever.
It is what it is. He says that if you don't have self-control off the field, how are you going to have it on it? And I think it starts to make a little sense why Jeremy's not fitting in.
Yeah. Not to get too far ahead, but Jeremy will not be back to the challenge. And so I get why they gave him a second chance after his first season. Saw a little bit of that heart in him that they look for in so many of these challengers, but we just got nothing here. But
yeah.
Anyway, do you have any specific thoughts or anything else on the Beth and David dynamic? It gets highlighted one more time in this episode here.
I just think it's interesting. I think that David is trying to be like the snake charmer to Beth, and yet he in confessionals is just as willing to drag her as everyone else. I think David's a pretty good confessionalist and is pretty funny, so I appreciate that. But no, I just think it's about the same as everyone else feels about her.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would like David to be their snake charmer.
So really?
You don't think so?
No, I definitely do. I forget what I looked up David or something, and it was just like, can we how hot David is? I was like, okay, like a very early Google search.
I'm not sure what else there is to talk about with David sometimes.
He's funny sometimes.
This woman quit her job on the spot to make a relationship with him. Like that was brought up, of course, in the trivia challenge. Reminded me
she's
about
so
that.
real.
I get it.
She's so real.
I get it. All in love with this man, and why not? Just give it a shot. You'll get another job.
Exactly.
Let's talk about the challenge. Spare tires. We are going to see them suspended over the water again. We have this, crane and pulley system, whatever, this season. We are using it as much as we can. We have the challenge that everybody has to get into the water, climb up a ladder, go through a series of, I don't know, 12, 15 tires or something like that.
24.
But 24, well, a lot more than I said. But the twist about it, which makes sense why it's 24, is because every time that you pass through the tires, you have to pull a string and drop one tire into the water, making it more difficult for the person behind you. And a little bit of a twist here, which I thought made a lot of sense. If you drop before dropping a tire, the next person that goes has to drop two tires to keep, the correct amount of tires up on the field for everybody that passes through. So you couldn't cheat.
Yeah. I love this challenge. I actually think it's great. I think we could completely copy paste it, put it in today's challenge, and I would be just as invested. So I did enjoy this very much. I think the fact that you get absolutely 0 points if you drop is pretty rough, considering if someone drops like a little bit early, you just lose everything. Like,
Yeah.
basically you are done. So when Beth does not make a very early run on this challenge, one that is super simple, she really should have been able to make, it puts the vets in such a bad position.
I'm looking at the order that the vets went in. Did they have to go guy, girl, or girl, guy,
I
whatever?
think that is the case. Think there was a couple of unspoken rules here. I think you had to go guy girl based on the order. It's like, we'll put Beth third, and it's only after like Katie, and then did David go second? I forget,
Yeah,
but
I was
it's
going to
just
say it speaks to the strength of the team that David was the first guy to go.
exactly. Yeah, someone who is usually viewed as an asset to any other team. He was like literally the strongest guy on the first season he was on, season 3. So I am looking at it that way. And the fact is, I think also they probably had to pull specific tires as they went, because as both Mark and Elton go, I'm like, wait, why is there like a stretch where they've let 3 tires in a row go, but then there's other tires where like there's a whole big stack of them that no one pulled. So I think that they probably like, okay, the first person pulls, tire number 7, the second person pulls number 12. So I think that might have been numbered and we were not told.
That would make sense, only because we're going to see on the vets team that only Beth doesn't make it through. And of course, plenty of comments are going to be made towards Beth because of that. But on the rookie side of things, besides Evie's falling right away and immediately getting a 0,
Ebis.
yeah, tough stuff there. The rookies are immediately the vets are immediately celebrating, like, oh, well, that's great.
As soon as Ebis falls, they literally can't win. It's
Pretty
over.
much, yeah.
No, like
They're like,
literally they can't win because the vets have gained every single point except for the third person to go. As soon as you lose literally, all 24 points in the first turn, you have lost more points than you are available to lose.
I wasn't doing the math, but when they said, like, again, we saw the celebration as if they knew that they had just won, but then they're like, oh, but we never know what could happen. So I was like, I guess it is still mathematically possible for them to win. But yeah, I mean, that does make sense. But to your point about, the specifics of which tires were dropping when, eventually, the rookie team captain Alton is going to go, and he is struggling to get across a 3 tire gap from one to the next, and couldn't do it.
I don't know the exact heights of everyone here. I think if I were to guess, I think Mark Long is a lot taller than Alton. And so while Alton is a phenomenal climber, it really was just about how long your body was to be able to reach to the next. You needed like a very long grip, which I think, someone like Randy, who they sat out, because they worried about him fitting through the tires, might have actually been able to grip out a little bit further. So maybe that was the wrong decision. Maybe they should put Alton a little bit earlier. But again, if I'm guessing wrong on heights, then ignore all of this.
You're usually pretty on top of the heights. You usually have a pretty good finger on the pulse of.
I try, and then I draft Big T as a tall person.
But yeah, it didn't go well. He at one point is like hanging off, looking like he's going to Spider-Man Spider-Man jump it, and people are like, oh, he's gonna jump, no, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Eventually TJ counts him down because he's essentially timed out, and the team has already lost, as you're saying, at this point. So the vets win. Derek is safe on this men's elimination day. It's going to be Alton going into elimination, but who against? We hear Jamie saying, if it's me, that would be dumb. MJ's like, well, I'm not just going to give in if I get picked. He's probably thinking, he is truly a rookie around here, so maybe it's him. But no, it's somebody who is completely blindsided and tells TJ he wasn't prepared, even though TJ kind of shadily is like, but you were expecting this, right? Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy, we all knew you were the weakest member of the team, right? Like, it was really obvious that everyone was going to throw you in because you kind of suck at this.
No, actually, no. I'm blindsided. I didn't think it was me.
Yeah. And I think that's because like Elton explains it, that Jeremy, while he does well in every single challenge, and so you might think Jeremy has had no like real fuck ups, he hasn't stood out. There's been no challenge where it's like, wow, Jeremy really like came through for the team and won us this challenge in the way that I think like an MJ or a Randy, because they're really big, have been able to like push the truck, or that like Landon is super agile or stuff like that.
Right. Capture the Flag is the name of the game here today. Jeremy versus Alton in this gauntlet elimination, and Jeremy goes home.
Oh, just absolutely crushed. I think there was no world in which anyone was standing a chance against Alton, let alone Jeremy.
Yeah, this is Alton's third elimination win of the season. It is his second time doing Capture the Flag. And as you kind of pointed out last time, probably nobody better than Alton and Adam to do this. Nope. And so Adam is gone. I don't know who else is really going to measure up on this team, at least. Maybe on the other team, you could point to, like, I don't know, a Derek or whoever else. But otherwise, yeah, not so much. So Jeremy is going to be heading out here, says it's hurts to go home, knowing that the end is so close, and probably hurts even more to know that he will never get a call back onto the show. So that is tough. Yeah. But unfortunately, I'm not really feeling like I needed to see another appearance. So
I feel okay. We'll see if Jeremy comes up when we talk about who we want to come back to All Stars in the future. But for me, again, it makes sense why, despite remembering this season super well, I have literally no memory of Jeremy before this whole rewatch project.
And I will say, by the time that this podcast is coming out, that project that you're just mentioning should be out. It's going to be on Patreon. So if you are a patron of the podcast, you may have already heard it. If you are not a patron of the podcast and you want to be one, patreon.com/The Free Agents Podcast. We're going to be doing that over there, talking through the returnee picks that we would like to see of players from this first era of the show. So check that out. But to close out these episodes, just a little bit more digging into Beth.
Yeah, I think that this was a fair question where, okay, Beth, it was a men's elimination day, and so you fell very early. Would this have changed anything if it was a women's elimination day? If this was the final, would you have tried harder? Because we're going to be running like this final against you. And while a lot of people have praised Beth as one of the better competitors on the veterans team, she gives up like really easy. It's this challenge. It's where they have to cross the ropes, holding the rope between them. She's just not really putting her all into it. And if we get to a final and Beth similarly is like, guys, just not for me, like that's going to be a big problem.
It's just a very funny person. Like, she's a very funny person in the context of competing on the challenge because, half the time she wants to quit. Of course, we've seen her not want to be there anymore, literally last season. And then you have other moments where she's like, I am a strong competitor. Yep. Like, nobody believes in me. Nobody takes me seriously. I have this reputation. So you just never know what Beth you're going to get. And for all of these challenges in these early seasons where you really have to neutralize that type of player and figure out what to do with them. And, you're this far into the season and you still have her here. It's like, well, what do we do? Like, can I try to reason with you? You're not a person that can usually be reasoned with.
No. And I think a lot of these eliminations are well suited to Beth. So it is kind of a concern. I don't know. It's interesting. I think to this day, if you asked Beth, like, hey, Beth, you want to show up for world championship? She'd be like, I'm ready. I'm going to compete. Like, it's like Beth really believes in herself. She is her biggest fan.
Absolutely. We'll see just how much Beth believes in herself getting into the next part here, closing out this season when we do so. Anything else on these episodes, though?
No, that's all.
Confessional update, real quick. In that case, we still have Elton at the lead, 42 confessionals, followed by Derek with 38, Beth with 33, Kara, who's been eliminated now, had 30, Keena has 28, and then you kind of get everybody in the middle. But going to like the bottom of the list of people that are still in the game through 12 episodes, Jillian and Katie. I don't like these two being on the same tier, but are at the very bottom with 6 confessionals each.
It's so rude. Where
It's
is Katie?
crazy. Jamie Murray has 7, which fine. I don't know why he's here in the first place. At this point.
Hell, rude. Nah,
Just like he's 3 seasons and he's underrated every time.
Yeah, that's true.
Obviously, you don't care about this guy, so I'm not going to either.
Enough to put him on the wrong team.
Yes, exactly. Ebis has 11 confessionals down towards the bottom. Robin is MIA this season. She has 14. Landon has 15. MJ has 16. So, and then we're kind of in this middle territory. But yeah, captain's obviously leading the way with Alton and Derek and Keena towards the top. Beth is still a captain right now. She's at the top. So makes sense. Makes sense.
Does make sense.
And then my final question for you. This is not yet our Mount Rushmore discussion, but sometimes I like to check in and get a finger on the pulse of what you're feeling. We've had so many contestants eliminated already. You might say 12. I don't know, something around then. Anybody you think could be in contention for this season's Mount Rushmore? Ace. So realistically,
wow, rude. Okay, if I am looking at the people that have been eliminated so far, yes, I do think there's one. In full seriousness,
I have 2.
Okay. Okay. I think let me go with first, the more obvious pick. I think in my mind, we got Kara.
Oh, I didn't have her.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, I guess like if there's not a lot happening between all of the people that are left in the game going forward, I guess like I really need, a highlight from these people for me to say at this point, if you've been eliminated. And obviously she was a part of that drama, but at this point I'm like, if one of you is getting it, it's probably Susie, but fair. I don't think either of them are going to get it. We'll see.
I feel like Kara has been the mouthpiece both on the team and to the audience more than Susie. So I would still probably have her over Susie right now. But my number one, who might be my number one of the entire season so far, is Joe.
Yeah.
Joe, this moment is so iconic. It lives in my head rent-free every single day of my life. I will always think of Joe. I will sue this island. It will never leave my brain.
I know. It's so tough. We famously did not put Baloo on the Mount Rushmore of that season. And I still sometimes sit with some regrets about that, feeling like you think back to the season that Baloo brought her baby, and just the fact that she's not there. We put Puck on Battle of the Sexes, and of course he's a big part of the season, but he doesn't go all the way to the end either. I don't know. Can't go back.
Yeah, I think there was a strong 4 on that season that we put Baloo, where I don't know who I would really remove at this point. I know who you're probably thinking. But I think as of right now, no one has had a more memorable moment on this season than Joe did.
Who do you think I was thinking of that season? Because I know who we came down to between Baloo and I think it was Coral.
I thought you might want to I thought looking back, you might have less memory of Holly B, and so you might want to remove her.
Oh, no. She was that season.
I agree.
Yeah, no. We were debating that between Coral and Baloo, and we were like, does it need to be Coral in a time like this? Because obviously she has so much more coming, but it still felt like she had her fingers all over that season. But it was tough. Baloo should have been up there as well. Anyway,
if there was a 5th spot, it would have been Baloo.
Yes. Joe definitely, we'll talk when the time comes, but I think she could be in contention. The other name, I don't think super likely, but just maybe Ruthie as a captain and, a standout.
Not at all for me.
Okay. Fair enough.
I feel like she's almost invisible.
Yeah. I mean, especially as we get farther and farther away, it's not like people are like, oh, without Ruthie now but just for the stretch of episodes that she was in, just the typical Ruthie is such a strong player, we need her, she's our captain, blah 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 blah. But
I would have had Montana over Ruthie.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
you hate Ruthie.
I think Ruthie, if I'm like, whose season is this, who has had memorable moments, not Ruthie at all for me.
Yeah. No, Joe probably is the likeliest person of those eliminated so far, but we'll see. Still a good amount of people left in this game. Think the final is going to have a good amount of people in it as well, which means the people that are here throughout the entire season, we just may end up looking at them a little bit more, but we'll see when we get
There we
there.
go.
Episodes 13 through 17, I believe, will make up the next part. I think there's a reunion on this season too. I'm
We will
pretty
see.
sure. But all right, nothing else for today?
Nothing else.
Okay. All right, let's wrap this one up. Scally, where can people find you?
Ooh, people can find me over on the We Know Love Island feed, probably recently wrapping up Beyond the Villa, I believe. So go check that out. Otherwise, you can find me on the Big Brother coverage on RHAP and on social media at Brian_Scally on Twitter, at Brian Scally on Blue Sky, and at B Scally on Twitch.
There you go. Check me out on the Diary Room podcast with Aman Adwin, talking all things Big Brother all year round. A very fun bracket style competition to try to find the best player in Big Brother history. Find Scally and I here on this very podcast talking through the Challenge 41 all season long. And again, if you're interested in the bonus content, if you're interested in hearing our top picks to return from Era 1, people that we have not seen come back to All Stars yet, but we would like to see that happen, that and so much more is available on Patreon, patreon.com/The Free Agents Podcast. We appreciate so much all of your feedback, especially all of you that are listening through this series, rewatching the show with us. If you're really going along this ride with us, then you're the real ones. So truly appreciate all the feedback, any positive messages, encouragement to keep it going as if we weren't going to. We're going to keep going. But the 5-star ratings and reviews, always appreciated. I think that's going to do it for today. We'll be back very soon to close out the Gauntlet 2 with part 3. But until then, take care, and we hope to see you all in the future.